Here's a little garden video for you. This is my garden. My beans that I had there, they died. The ants and aphids killed them. But look at those tiny marigolds. They're doing great. And this has sweet potatoes in it now. And here's these sweet potatoes. They're doing good too. And this has peppers. Look at all these peppers. Different kind of peppers that came up voluntary. These are jalapenos. I think there's some regular bell peppers. See that? Regular bell peppers in here. This is a keyhole garden, and I'm thinking I need to do more keyhole gardens. Look at these jalapenos. Big fat ones. And these are voluntary plants that I didn't plant them. They just came up from seed because we throw all our kitchen waste in here. And this is a normal pepper, bell pepper. See those cute little things? Now that it's cooled off a little bit, everything's trying to produce. These things must be about 3 feet tall. No, 3.5 feet tall in this raised bed. It's real cool. There's the amaranth. Love lies bleeding. This is the tomato plant I had. It was a great tomato plant. Now it's kind of looking pretty bad. They're called large red cherry tomatoes. I suggest that everybody plants these because I've lived in North Dakota and here, and they are a good tomato. At least you get some tomatoes. They produce a lot of big cherry tomatoes. I guess that's why they're called large red cherry tomatoes. Anyway, here's the other stuff. They produced the most tomatoes of all my tomato plants. This row of tomatoes produced nothing. Well, maybe five tomatoes the whole season. They look pretty terrible. Well, let me show you this first. These raised beds, there's a lot of weeds and stuff growing around them because it's the end of the year. There's almost nothing in there. Kale that's kind of dead, and because it was killed off by the harlequin bugs. I planted this cool yellow cherry tomato plant in here. It had some really good cherry tomatoes. And then there's sweet potatoes growing here. And then there's some Swiss chard. Swiss chard is hanging in there. It's been through the whole summer. Still looking good. See those sweet potato vines? This is where I had my potatoes planted. And they did pretty good. I mean, you know, best potatoes I've ever planted here. There's still some carrots in the ground. This cherry tomato, it's got a lot of cherries on it. It's got a lot of tomatoes on it, but I think they're kind of weird. They might have got sunburned or something. And lack of water, the tomato doesn't look too good. Some of them are kind of rotten. This had too much water for a while, so my marigolds kind of died. So marigolds are happy except for if you give them too much water. And there's used to be kale here. That's pretty gone. Of course, cabbage didn't do anything. It never does. There's something that Ryan had. I don't know what it is. Doesn't seem like this stuff is getting water anymore. I don't know what the deal is. Maybe I turned it off here. I wonder if I did. Yep, sure did. That's probably why everything's looking like it's dying. When you turn the water off, it doesn't get water. And these are voluntary beans that came up, and they've put on a couple of beans. That's about it. And there's Kit Kat. But now that it's turning cooler, all of the beans want to produce, and the tomatoes are starting to produce more. It's been really a hot summer. So tomatoes, when there's too much heat, they don't do well. This is a purple pepper. That pepper will turn absolutely purple. There's some lamb's quarters. Anybody need lamb's quarters seeds? Basil going to seed. There's some more Love Lies Bleeding amaranth. I got some asparagus growing here too. Look at that. Asparagus. I'm excited about that. And more marigolds. They are so pretty. That. And there was my pinto beans. And these are Corno di Toro peppers. Oh, look at that one. And look, one of my honeydew. I didn't pick it on time and it totally ruined. Here's a few more. They're still growing. But my pear tree is still alive. See that? It's a good thing. And this is my chia patch. Look how tall that is. I'm 5'9" and it's as tall as I am. But I don't see any sign of seeds on it. Not sure what the deal is, when it's gonna blossom. Crazy plant. Yeah, there's no blossoms on it yet, so I'm not sure if it's gonna make seeds because it's getting to be pretty late. Here's my asparagus. Looking pretty good. Look at that. Still making asparagus. I don't know if you can see that or not. This one too. This one. There's watermelon. My watermelon plants that never did anything. My beans right here are starting to do a little bit. I could probably pick this honeydew. It's hard to know when honeydews are ripe. I'm not sure exactly how to know. See, the beans they've got beans on them. They're finally doing something. I almost killed them off once, or maybe twice, I can't remember, because I didn't have the watering situation figured out, so they almost died, but they finally came back. This row of beans, they did die, so there's none of them. Look! My lilac is blossoming. Oh, wow. You wouldn't know. It smells like a lilac. I didn't know they were white. This is so cool. Who ever heard of lilacs blossoming in the fall? Look at that. It's got leaves on it. I think I almost killed this one off too. Wow, that's amazing. It must think it's spring or something. And see, these are large red cherry tomatoes, but this, I think that's what this end of it is. Maybe it's something else, but there's a large red cherry tomato on that end, and it's actually doing pretty good. But the rest of the tomatoes, those ones over there, almost nothing. And I've got a whole row of Mr. Stripey tomatoes. No, there was only one the whole summer. One tomato that appeared and ripened. These peppers have done good. They're Corno di Toro and mostly Corno di Toro, this whole row. See, there we go. See those? So they're doing good. I appreciate them. This is eggplant. There was melons here, some melons. We got a couple of melons off this. This was kind of like a cantaloupe thing. But most of the things didn't do very well because we had the water situation. Didn't have that figured out. These are eggplant, and some of them are already, past the purple stage. So the plant isn't doing much. There's a couple of them on there, and I see a couple down there. These are okra, and they need to be picked, as you can tell. That's almost too far gone already. And okra do great around here. These are some kind of pepper also. hasn't done much. I think I probably haven't planted too close together. There's a nice spider. Where's he go? There you go. Spiders are part of gardening. If you don't like spiders, get over it. And there's more peppers in there. They're bell peppers, I think. Pretty sure. Now these peppers are, what are they? Sereno. That's been pretty good. You know, not like I had them another year. They were just loaded in a different year, but you know, I've picked a lot of them off here. There's not very many on right now, but that's been a pretty good pepper. There's a tomato on there finally. But all these tomatoes have done nothing. And most people in this area are having the same issue. When it gets too hot, we don't get tomatoes. I guess it's because it's so hot and dry. These are more eggplant. They've done well. See, here's the eggplant. Isn't that pretty? I've gotten a few tomatoes off of some of those over there. Here's my Egyptian spinach. Look, it's making seed pods. Aren't those cool? I've never had Egyptian spinach before. This is the only plant I got to grow, so I wasn't eating very much of it. The leaves are decent tasting, even at this stage. Well, that's a bug on it. Get off. Anyway, the leaves are decent tasting. Where's Kit Kat? Kitty? Yeah? Yeah. There was my greens. Collard greens. This is some sort of lettuce. I think it might have been romaine lettuce, but it came up real late. It was super bitter. I'm just letting it go to seed. And here's a yellow pepper. I need to pick it. Look at that pretty thing. I can pick it without ripping the plant up. There we go. And there's little sister. Little sister. These are pretty big. I mean, crowded together, that's what I mean. Not actually very big, they're just crammed together. See that kitty cat? More marigolds. More tomato jungle. Well, every year I say the tomatoes are going to be put on trellises or, you know, fences or tomato cages or something. You know, I know that tomatoes can't just be left to wallow like this. But guess what? Every year I don't get it done. So this year is no different. Oh, there's a tomato finally. Big tomato on there. Where is it? There it is. There's quite a few tomatoes. See, it's cooled off. We've gotten some cooler weather and the tomatoes are saying, yay, let's make some tomatoes. Look at that. These are green beans. I've gotten a few off of there now that it's cooled off. This is a tomato that's tipping over onto everything else. Marigolds mostly. See, my trail through here kind of disappeared in plants that are hanging over it. Marigolds. And back in there, this thing that's on the fence, that was a cucumber. And it produced white cucumbers. They were pretty good. There's another pepper. That's supposed to be my walk path through that situation there. But I never use it because I go on this path, even though the plants are laying on it. Here's Thai basil, which did great. Haven't done too much with it. But this is my favorite basil plant. This one right here. I picked it recently, so it's not as purple as it usually is. Usually it gets real purple and curly leaves like that. Beautiful basil and delicious. I mean, this stuff is good. And there's more eggplant. More eggplant back there, more amaranth. Well, that's my garden. That's how it turned out. That's, as you can tell, this is a dry area. See out there in the grass? And there's, see our lawn? You know, this is a very dry area. See the lawn that direction? Brown. Everything's brown. So this is the kind of gardens we get here when it's so brown. We've probably got not even 2 inches of rain the whole summer. So that's how it is.